Grimcast Manila is a podcast of creepy stories from around the metro. I'm your scaredy cat host, Antoinette, and I love a good ghost story. An avid wanderer, Kyle delights in exploring and watching the world around him. While he's as fond of hearth and home as any homebody, the experiences outside are too great a lure for him to ignore. These days, he spends time between work, sleep, and play. Hey, Kyle. Thanks for joining me.
Hello. Thank you very much for the invite.
Of course. So, what started your fascination into this side of the tracks?
I think there are two that immediately come to mind, and that will be Edith Hamilton.
Okay.
From mythology fame, and Reddit.
Reddit.
Always Reddit.
Yeah.
There's this Edith Hamilton, basically not very much more of the Greek mythology. A lot of people seem to forget that at the end of her book, there is a short section on Norse mythology.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was the one that I was like, oh, this seems much more thrilling than,
them Greek and Romans.
Yeah. Because basically 3/4 of Greek and Roman myths come from Zeus not being able to keep it in his pants. So, I was just, I'm getting sick of this. I want something different for once. So, there are Siegfried and Sigmund, and stuff like that. And, when I delved more into it, Norse mythology is pretty bloody dark. You have Odin who hung from a spear, just oh, I got the chills.
Okay.
And then there was this one time that I was on the front page of Reddit, and there was this, I don't know if you've read it. There's this one user there who goes by the name of Dr. Margin.
Dr. Margin.
Yeah. And he's writing, I'm not so sure if it's still going on. It hasn't had updates the last time I checked. But he wrote this fascinating series of stories called Dr. Margin's Guide to New Monsters. So basically, the premise is that with modern technology and, Twilight, the stuff that used to terrify us aren't so terrifying anymore.
Wait, by Twilight, you mean the sparkly vampire guys?
Yes, the sparkly vampire. He specifically calls them out in his preface. So,
good for you, Dr. Margin.
Yeah, so he's like, so he's looking for new monsters, like the ones that crop up in the absence, because the theme of that storyline is the world must always have monsters.
Okay.
And when the monsters of old become domesticated, new monsters take their place. Okay. So it follows his journey all around the world where he interviews different things. Sometimes he encounters monsters. Sometimes he just narrowly avoids them. It's fascinating. And as I'm a scaredy cat, so it was a bad idea for me to discover that thread, but I loved it.
Right. No, I've just pulled it up right now. And I'm going to have some reading tonight.
Not tonight. There's some of those things are pretty damn terrifying.
Tomorrow lunchtime.
Yes. In the middle of the day.
Yeah. So, jumping right into it though. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Yes.
If only not, I don't necessarily believe in the solid concept of ghosts, like, ectoplasm and stuff.
Right.
But I do believe that the breadth of our current knowledge is not enough to account that it won't exist.
Right.
So we cannot disprove their existence. There are some scientific, and I read about this, there are some scientific concepts about why we get scared, how we get scared, and how natural stuff in our environment is conditioned to biologically scare us. It's a little bit fascinating, but yeah, I do believe in ghosts mainly because there's absolutely no reason why they should not exist. The universe has done really weird stuff. Ghosts will not be the least of them.
Like in the spectrum, this would be one of the less weird things the universe has ever done.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So when was the first time you had a creepy experience, or have you had a creepy experience happen specifically to you?
Yeah, I've had several. The majority of them took place in my youth. Ooh, I feel so old.
It's not like you're old now, but okay.
Okay.
In your youth?
Yeah. The thing about me and ghostly occurrences is they happen when I'm not alone.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, because I live by myself. I've done that for a long time. But whenever I'm with other people, that's when the creepy stuff happens. So the first time, I'm not so sure if this is the first time, but this is the first time I remember it.
Okay.
Is I was with my grandmother.
Okay.
We were having a nice dinner, just her and I, and we were in her shop. She used to own this restaurant located in Teachers Village. It's Malakas Street,
Mhm.
and it was, I think, an hour after we closed.
Mhm.
So we got off all the chairs, so on and so forth, and we're just enjoying stuff. And the setup is kind of like this booth. Imagine if this is the front of the store. There's the counter,
Yeah.
and there's where all the cooking utensils and the kitchen is.
Right.
So we saw something. We were talking, and I think I was talking to her about cookies and cream ice cream because I was really craving for some.
Valid conversation.
Yes. Hey, I was 10.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I saw who I thought was my mother.
Like through the window where the kitchen would be.
Yeah, like there. She was behind the mantle, just looking at me. And I was like, hold up, my mom's at work, or she's on her way back home from work. She must have gotten home early. So I said to my grandmother, hey, look, mom's there. And then we look, and there's the head thing. It was in shadow because we had shut off that part of the kitchen. And we're like, maybe she's getting herself food from there.
How long did it work?
So we were, and she was like, oh, you're back home early. And then the head just kind of moves, faces away to the left.
Away from you?
Yeah. And then she walks that way.
Which is away from you or towards you?
There are two doors to the kitchen. One of them leads to the living quarters. The other one leads to the back. And she walks towards the door to the back.
Okay.
And the partition between the kitchen and the serving area doesn't cover the entire what we can see.
Mm-hmm.
And then she walks, and then as soon as she gets out of the partition, we see her head,
mm-hmm.
and
so
only
it looks
her,
like a woman,
and only her head.
What?
Yeah.
So wait, no, it's a woman.
It is a woman that looked exactly like my mother,
but only your mother's head.
Yes.
Floating.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
And what happens afterwards? Like,
well, my grandmother is my grandmother's from Iloilo, and she's the type of person who's like, oh, always say tabi tabi po when you're going through these, the usual kind of person who believes in all the supernatural. And she just told me, don't move and don't call out to it.
Don't call out to it.
Yeah.
Don't give it attention.
No. We already gave it attention.
Yeah.
But I was about to like, okay, so that's mom, right? And then she's like, that is not your mother.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we and the thing is, it didn't even dart away. It just took its sweet time to disappear off of our sight, and we were just there in the middle of the dining area of their shop, just like sitting in horror. And I was just
and it's just like, don't move.
My grandmother was just like she put her hand on my wrist and like an iron grip, just like. Because I wanted to run. I wanted to bolt at that point because like, this is not normal. This is not normal.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out because, oh no, somebody cut off my mom's head.
Yeah.
So, but she, my grandmother was just don't move, don't call out to it. Just wait until it leaves.
So it left.
It left. And we never did see it again.
So how long did that last between
For about from between me noticing the head and the head walking out, probably a good 3 to 5 minutes. It took its sweet time going out because we thought the reason why it was moving so slowly is my mother had gotten herself a plate of food and so didn't want to spill it. And then after she got out of the partition and the only thing I could see was her head, and we could see, it's not even that it was covered. We could see her head, and then we can see all the kitchen wall behind the bottom of the head. So I was just, that is a floating head of my mother. That's, I didn't sleep for 2 nights after that.
Were you sleeping there?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
How great for you.
I know. I was there during a weekend, so...
And what did your grandmother like?
My grandmother
debrief you after?
Yes, she did. She told me that I think it was because the shop next door, the one that had set up about a month beforehand had cut down a very old tree in order to make room for their pantry, I think.
Okay.
And I can remember my grandmother just muttering when they were cutting down a tree, "Oh, that's not going to bite them back in the ass, definitely."
Not a good idea.
Yeah, not a good idea. So after that day, I had this newfound respect for old trees.
Sure.
Because I always thought, oh, they're old trees, but they have those scratchy caterpillars that fall on you, and oh, God forbid. But yeah, that was the first one. I've had several others along the same vein, usually referring to falling objects or strange sounds in rooms that were empty.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I mean, you could almost chalk this up to like, could have been something.
could have been something. Yeah. But I don't know. I was 10. I thought I had a hyperactive imagination, except for that one time. And most of the times, the other creepy stuff happened around my grandmother's helpers when I was with them, or my grandmother. So I was just, okay, maybe they're messing with me.
Maybe they're messing with you, or
Yeah.
you're not insane.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if other people see it.
Yeah. What else? There is one. I did say that most of them happened during childhood, but there was this one particular incident that happened when I was in college. So this was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I used to live in Ateneo Cervini dorms.
Yep.
Yeah. The ones that they're for first year male students.
Mhm.
And there was this one time that I really couldn't sleep. I think it was a weekend.
Mhm.
So the dorms were quiet. And Cervini is located near a cliff edge almost.
Mhm.
It's very heavily wooded. It's very quiet there during the Sundays. So I was at the lobby. I think I was waiting for food.
As you do when you are a college student.
Yes, I couldn't really cook. And I got my food, and I went to eat behind the, I don't know, is that a concierge table?
Reception?
Yeah, the reception area. There is a reception area at Cervini's lobby that's located directly in front of the door. And I was eating my food there. And then for fun, after that, I went to the front and I talked to the guard. He's like,
Is this like a Sunday?
I think so, yeah. Saturday or Sunday. It was a weekend.
So it was a chill weekend.
It was a chill weekend. No, nothing too much. And the guard has a monitor in front of him that shows the security camera footage. And I was just, oh, okay, we're going to look at it and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that, something was happening while I was getting my food in the lobby. And he just didn't want to tell me because he didn't want any of me or the delivery guy to freak out. So I said, okay, what was happening then? So he winds back the tape to about 30 minutes beforehand when I was meeting the delivery man for food.
Okay.
So there it was. It's on the top, it's gray and grainy, stuff like that. And I was going to pay the food. And then when I was getting the food, there's this 3 orbs of light that suddenly come from off screen.
Sure.
And just dance around our heads for a while. And then they cluster around the food.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just like, I had the food, I had the bag under my arm. I was counting my change. And then the lights just kind of circle around.
What's for lunch?
What's for dinner? It was for dinner. Yeah. I think it was 9 p.m.
Oh.
Yeah. So they circled around there. And then when I went to the reception area, the orbs followed. So you can see the orbs go from one screen to the other screen and then just kind of circle around my head while I was eating food. And after I was done eating food, they suddenly fly off screen and disappear.
Like a ghost mukbang.
I know.
We just want to watch Kyle eat.
It was terrifying for me because it's just, why are spirits watching me eat? Is there?
Must not be a lot to do on a weekend.
I know. It was. I was one of the few students that liked staying behind in the dormitories during the weekend because a lot of students would go back to their families in the weekend and spend their time there. But yeah, there was that, and then there was the cliff edge.
The cliff edge?
Yes.
So behind the dorm.
Yes. This is the last one, I think. And if I'm not so sure if it's still there because I know the dormitories have gone on extensive renovation since I left. But there is a space between the university dorms, the Cervini dorms, and the Eliazo dorms. There's a small cliff here that kind of overlooks Marikina.
Uh-huh.
And I like sitting there because it's very windy.
And it must be a lovely view.
It is a lovely view of a cemetery.
What?
Yes.
Excuse me, what?
I think it overlooks a cemetery. I've never asked because there was this one time that I go there usually at dusk. At dusk on Saturdays and Sundays. Just to think about my life and my typical, I'm about to graduate from college. What am I going to do next? And I was there and there was a girl sitting there. She looked about my same age. I said, oh, okay, so it's occupied.
She's contemplating life too.
Yeah, and she's not even dressed in what you would consider ghostly attire. She was, I distinctly remember this. She had this hoodie on and, short shorts, slippers, like basically what anybody from the dorms would wear on a chilly weekend.
Short
so
shorts?
I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just going to go somewhere else. And then I kind of hear, as soon as I turn around, I kind of hear like sobbing.
Oh no.
A little bit. I'm like, oh damn, is this a freshman who's like super distressed about her exams?
She's having a moment.
She's having a moment. And I'm like, should I just let her cry? Or as an upperclassman, should I do something?
Or check if you're okay.
Yeah. Because this is a cliff edge we're talking about. Like you won't die, but you will have really significant injuries if you roll off of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit. All right. I'm going to do the mature upperclassman thing as a dorm upperclassman, and I'm just going to talk to her. So I walk to talk to her. I turn around and she stands up and then jumps.
What?
Yeah.
Off the cliff?
She does. And I let her shriek that until today I'm still not proud of. But she jumps and I'm like, okay, wait. I know there are trees there. I know there's some sort of structure there that...
So she would have been caught on something.
She would have been caught on something, but still, the fact that, you see somebody jump there is just... My heart just stops. And I dash there.
Yeah.
I look down, nothing.
What?
Just nothing. Like no trace that somebody had been there, much less anybody had jumped. And the guard, here's the thing, the guard came running because...
He saw it too?
Yeah, he saw it too.
Okay.
And then we were like, I was like, Kuya, anong nangyari? Sabi niya, malay ko. It's just... And I think my shriek, for the lack of a better term, my shriek like alerted the other guards at the front of the two dorms. So everybody came running.
Yeah.
And then it's just, what happened? We saw someone jump. We saw may babaeng tumalon. And then they're like, okay, so where is she? Why isn't she crying for it? And I said, somebody has to go down there and check. And I'm just...
Not me.
Go,
Kuya, this is your job.
Yeah. And,
this is outside of your pay grade. This is your job.
Yeah. And somebody eventually did kind of like gingerly make their way down the incline. But nothing. Absolutely nothing.
After the girl jumps, did you hear like rustles, leaves?
No, like I could hear her sobbing, and then I could hear the slight crunch as she jumped. But no sound of landing, no sound of no sound that she hit the ground at all. It's if I didn't know better, I'd say this wind snatched her up before she could fall.
Or she's actually secretly a manananggal.
Yeah,
and like her story is she really wants to go to college, but it's not the family business.
Yeah. I mean, I asked like one of the janitors.
If that had ever happened. And he said, mainly because there's just so many trees, spirits kind of like... His explanation is that the spirits in trees that are near student dormitories are kind of infused by the general emotions of the students sleeping there. Interesting.
So he's like, I think this was around finals week. Yeah. And he's like, the spirits kind of empathize, or what do you call this? Take on aspects of the students that are near them. So it's possible that the nearby tree, which overlooked the first year female student dorms, has a spirit inside of it that kind of got
Parts
infused with all the stress of exam week. And it was manifesting sights like that.
I was like, ayoko na.
Yeah, basically. So the tree went full ayoko na mode. And I just happened to be the unlucky soul who was walking there and saw it, and the guard, but still. This happened around dusk. So there's no way we were hallucinating this. We could still see.
Like there was still like significant light.
Significant light for us to see that, there was a girl there and whatever. So yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us today, Carl. Those were some pretty interesting stories. Is there anything you'd like to share with the good people of the internet? Like, what are you up to these days?
Well, you can see me. I'm currently playing a lot of games for Tabletop PH. You can look them up on Facebook, Tabletop Philippines. They stream tabletop, mostly Dungeons and Dragons at the moment, but they are talking about other scary stuff like Call of Cthulhu. Very scary, very scary, chilling tabletop role-playing game. There's also, I am trying to see if I can run, if not a D&D game, another tabletop game that I played recently that I really like, Sea of Leaves. But you can check. They stream Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays.
Right.
And we do have international viewers, so we conduct sessions in English Thursdays and Sundays, and I'm there on Thursdays with my own DM Rich. And Fridays and Saturdays are Filipino streams.
Cool.
And Sundays is Adventurers League by Greasy Snitches. So basically just going to plug that out. And if you are in Ateneo and you see a girl jump off the cliff edge near university dorms, just don't yell as loud or as undignified as I did.
But maybe go check it out to see if it's a real person.
Yeah, really check it out, because exam stress is
real.
No joke. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us this week for Grimcast Manila. This has been your Scaredy Cat host, Antoinette, and I'll see you next time. Grimcast Manila is a podcast of creepy stories from around the metro and is recorded at Big Baby Studios. Check back next week for another episode. In the meantime, have a spooky day.